My perception, and I was talking with Simone about this, of the wider media landscape and the influencer landscape has been really transforming over the past couple weeks as I've dug deeper into trying to see who's actually real and beginning to understand how much mainstream players are actually botted.
I saw that you made a post on X about that today, didn't you?
Well, yeah, so this was our second one, but it's sort of, I mean, the rabbit hole started was like us going into Ben Shapiro and beginning to realize that Ben Shapiro's audience, or human audience, is probably smaller than ours.
Really?
And certainly smaller than yours. Well, what we were looking at was comments per video, the number of likes per video. If you go to, actually, we can just do this right now. As another YouTuber, you can tell people if I'm crazy to think this. So go to Ben Shapiro's YouTube channel.
Okay, let me open up a sterile window. Here, Ben Shapiro, YouTube.
Yeah, so we're gonna look up videos here for past videos, okay?
Okay, give me 1 second.
You as a YouTuber, well, I assume you have enough insight into your YouTubing that you would notice if something looked really off, right? Like number wise.
I'm a bad person for that because I'm the one person that never checked any stats because I'm a crackhead, right?
Okay, so
yeah.
If you go through his videos, you'll notice they fall into two categories. Okay, you'll see videos, and especially if you scroll back a bit, so you're getting more
do you see it? I put it up on the screen a little bit.
So you'll get videos that are
right here,
around an hour long or over an hour long. Almost every one of these videos has around 500,000 views on it. Okay.
Okay.
And then you'll get videos that are 10 minutes long, right?
Okay,
these 10-minute long videos get between 15 and 50K views.
Yeah, I see this one right here. Okay, go ahead.
If you understand YouTube's algo, that makes no effing sense. You would not host it. So, first of all, if you had some videos doing better than other videos, it's almost always the short form videos that outperform the long form videos. Now, if he was doing truly short form vertical videos, those run on a separate algorithm that don't affect your other algorithm. But if you're doing videos that are not in the vertical form in 10 minutes, the orders of magnitude lower view count that he's getting on these videos are going to absolutely tank these longer videos. But then the secondary problem on the longer videos is if you look, you get 478K,
500K, 17,
571K, 531K. Do you notice that there's not the normal variation here? They're all almost exactly around 500K.
I see that. Yeah. Oh, I see that.
Then the other weird thing is, so we have videos that just came out here, right? So we've got one that came out 7 hours ago that's at 105K. Then we have one that came out a day ago, which is at 228K.
Yeah.
And then we have one from 2 days ago, which is at 524K, okay? And then if we look past the 524K one, then they all sort of tap out at around 500K. So what's incredibly suspicious at this is this means that he's doing daily hour-long videos, but the majority of the views come on day 2 and 3. That makes no sense for somebody hosting daily videos. If you're doing a daily video stream, the majority of your views
will be up
on
front.
day 1.
That's true.
And if they were long tail in the algorithm, they would not magically stop after day 3 when you hit the 500K number.
That's true because it would rise, it would spike, and then it would hit the algorithm really, really hard, and then it'd surf it for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's man. So because I don't really know too much about this. I feel like you're more of an expert in terms of this. So is it possible that the reason that these short-term ones, because this is kind of what I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that your audience basically, wait, no, that's not true because that doesn't happen for me. I was gonna say that the short-form videos would trip people up that are in your normal audience, and then it would make them not watch it because it's not the long form show.
Yeah, but he's doing more short form videos than long form videos.
Oh, you're right.
So, another crazy thing is, so let's open one of his videos. This video presumably got 500,000 views. Okay. And so you can look and say, for video that got 500,000 views, how many comments is it getting, right? And I'm going to contrast this with one of my videos, okay?
Okay.
So his 500,000 view video is at around 1,500 comments, a little under
which
that,
one is
right?
that? Was it the new one or? The old one.
About all of them have exactly the same number. He used to get around 500 comments, and then a bunch of people called him out, and now it stops at around 1,500. Because the last time I checked this, they were all at around 500 comments, and I was like, that's really suspicious, because that's less than most of my videos. But then if you look at like my recent videos, so a video
1,500.
Today's video, right? That's at 9,000 right now. It's at 474 comments. The video yesterday, 14,587 comments. Video from before that, 17,000, 1,500. So what you'll see here is if I was to like normalize to Ben Shapiro's videos, a video of his that was making 30,000 views should be getting the number of comments his videos are getting. But it's not. But then you want to get even fishier. Go into one of his videos, and right here, I'm in the video called "The Radical Third World Invasion of the Democratic Party." Okay.
What's the time on it? Like when did it come out?
I don't know. Just you can control F or whatever. I just tried to like choose a random one.
Sorry, is the radical? Was it radical what? Radical.
The Radical Third World Invasion of the Democratic Party.
All right, I'm on it.
Okay, so go under it and look at the top comments, right? So comment number 1 has 52 likes. Comment number 2 has 17 likes. I don't know what you're getting, but you're probably getting numbers similar to this, right?
52, 141, 22, 220, 270.
21. Okay, so go to like, if you go to one of our videos with dramatically fewer, comment number 1, 180 likes. Comment number 2, 37 likes. Comment number 3, 62 likes. Comment number 4, 218 likes. It makes no sense. Corn, what it does. So, sorry, I got a little autistic about this, and then I started to ask, oh my God, what other right-wing content
You're right.
creators?
This is only 13K, and then there's like a ton of. I picked a random video. This is the Pragma. Yeah. Oh, this is the one that you made everyone down onto. The Pragmata one. Okay, maybe I'll pick a different one. I think that's an outlier. Let's try.
That was a huge outlier for us.
Let's try. All right, this one. Okay.
You see, she's doing this at random. This isn't me. This is not me manipulating the data here.
Yeah, it's a 40K
this is her. And you could say, oh, it's my algo here.
207, 171, 318. Yeah, you're 993. What the fuck? That's interesting.
Down over here.
This one's at 480K. Well, okay. So like, let's like think about this. So like, are there any alternate explanations? Like, is it possible that?
Here's the best alternate explanation I can think of.
Okay.
Ben Shapiro's audience is heavily boomer and doesn't know how to use the internet.
That's what I was thinking. Is that either like that, and also maybe subsequent, like at a certain point, you start to get people who are less engaged in terms of actually commenting, like. The people who watch up front would be the ones that do that, but it's
absolutely. So that could explain the comments alone. Nothing for me can explain a daily hour-long episode that gets twice the views on day 2 than it does the day it releases. I can understand some people watching something a day after it releases, but not the majority of your audience regularly and then have almost nobody watch it on day 4.
Especially with 7 million subs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. That is a good point.
So then I started to ask, okay, who else is faking it, right? So I started to go into and the other one that I heard who is probably faking it was Crowder. So I decided to go into Crowder, and Crowder is good for me because like I actively dislike Ben Shapiro. Like Ben Shapiro has like dissed us a number of times.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah, when we first started to like get big, you can take this off screen here, by the way. I want our beautiful faces. Right?
Yeah. All right.
So we start to get big, and this was early on, very early. I want to say like first few viral news pieces. Yeah. His sister still had a YouTube channel back then, everything like that, and so. He goes on air and like really leans into us. He was the first conservative to really lean into us, being like, "These people are nerds. Like, what
nerds?
Are these
Wait. I don't know if that's a good one to use for Ben Shapiro. But go on.
No, so somebody said I thought conservatives didn't infight. No, I said the new right doesn't infight. The new right doesn't infight at all. Conservatives infight all the time. So when I say the new right, I mean like, you know, us, Leaflit, Nuxanor, Asmongold, you know, like this wider circle, like never infights at all.
We try not to friendly fire
regularly with people like Nick Fuentes and Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
and Matt Walsh, like, obviously, right? Like, they represent a completely different political philosophy.
Yes.
But what's different about us and them is that those factions infight with each other.
True. Yeah, that is true.
So like when they post like a picture of like a wedding ring or something, they all go at each other like dogs. Like, you remember that instance, right?
Dude,
like,
they're kind of like leftists, man. It's kind of weird. Like, it's weird.
But yeah, so the point I was making is that like the new right, the tech right, the nerd right doesn't really infight very much, or at all. I can't think of a single major instance of infighting within it. But between the outer factions, yeah. But anyway, so he goes on about how we're such nerds, which I absolutely love. Absolutely love. Well, other people in the new right. We got
I love that too. I love that too. If people call me a nerd, I love it.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it too. But you really tried to police things. Tried to like take down Charlie Kirk's career. It's come out like early on when he was rising.
Wasn't he the one that kind of indirectly led to like the rise of Nick Fuentes? Like, wasn't it?
Well, he led to the radicalization of Nick Fuentes. He basically tormented this little random nobody for years. It's almost like I don't know if you guys have watched Invader Zim, but the episode where Zim keeps like disappearing things and replacing them with like a rubber cow moose or something to Dib throughout his entire life and like makes him go crazy. But it starts when like Dib's a nobody, when like Dib's a little kid. That was basically like Ben Shapiro and Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes, just like a normal guy, was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't give so much military aid to Israel. And like repeatedly throughout his life, Ben Shapiro comes in and tries to destroy his life. Oh yeah, it was piggies, yes. And Ben Shapiro basically did that to him, making him go on like an increasingly dark and insane timeline, where all of his little things got replaced by piggies until he's like, but it was replacing them with Jews until now whenever he sees a Jew, he just freaks out and starts like yelling Jew.
Man, it seems, you know, I find it to be very interesting that, and I don't know if this is just because they were the big player in the game, but it almost feels like the Daily Wire is at the center of like a bunch of people being really pissed at them or a bunch of people blowing up around them. Like, it really seems like that to me.
Well, we argue Mossad's #1 enemy in the United States should be Ben Shapiro because he has minted so many famous anti-Semites. He basically created Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens. He seems to have partially radicalized Tucker Carlson, maybe, right? Like, just goes out and does all of the worst things you can do if you wanted to radicalize someone.
It's so weird, too, because, like, I mean, I have to admit, like, in the beginning, I was quite a fan in the beginning. And, yeah, it's...
You were quite what?
I was quite a fan at the beginning of Ben.
Oh, yeah, no, I like stuff too. No, this is actually something that I realized was conservative media as I was going through and trying to understand the ones that seem to be heavily astroturfed.
Yeah.
Is a number of them are ones that I used to like. So I used to like Ben Shapiro. The next one that I really looked into was Crowder. Crowder doesn't seem to be doing it as bad, but it seems pretty clear that it's heavily astroturfed. And I have no negative feelings towards Crowder. I used to really like his content. It just got boring, and then I stopped watching it, right? And I didn't understand, like, who's still watching this? Like, who's watching Crowder in like 2026, right? And
my mom used to like him a lot.
Your mom?
Yeah, my mom liked Crowder a lot. She had like the mug and everything.
Yeah, well, but I think so it could be one of two things. It could be that a lot of these people have accumulated just boomer audiences who use internet in such a different way that it looks like botting.
Yeah.
Or it could be that a lot of the institutional right doesn't actually have an audience.
So, like, what do you think it is? Do you think it's is it just people with money? They're trying to prop people up, basically?
Yeah, so consider the Daily Wire model. Like, why is Daily Wire paying to make it look like people are watching them when it's just a money hole for them at this point? It's because Daily Wire's point right now isn't really the media empire. It's as a political influence body. It's so that they can go to conservative politicians and conservative political conferences and say, my voice matters because X, Y, and Z, and then they get up on stage and they, you know, give their speech or try to influence people in a specific way.
It's kind of sad, though, because you know how early on, I mean, not really early on, kind of like kind of in the middle of their rise, right? They tried to make a lot of alternative media stuff. Like they had the kids shows, they had the movies, and I honestly was really excited for that. So it was really sad to see it kind of implode on itself.
Ambitious. Somebody said, what about embedded stuff on other sites? That could create this behavior as well. I just don't know a lot of people who visit embedded YouTube videos on other sites. Like that's a behavior pattern.
What if it's posted? What if it's posted on like boomer stuff? Like, you know, like those okay, actually this is really interesting. They had a problem with this on Twitch. Do you know about the Fextra Life scandal?
No, tell me.
So there was this channel which was like supposed to be like the biggest gaming channel called Fextra Life. And what they did was they had the stream embedded on every single page on like their website and other stuff. So anybody that was visiting that page was a viewer of the live stream, even though it was minimized completely and you couldn't even see it. So like, could that be what's going on here, but with YouTube?
Oh, that's interesting. Finding other ways to spam views.
Yeah, it was a huge scandal. And like, because they were using it like, you know, to get big sponsorships. And it was like, well, actually and if you would go into the chat, it was like more dead than like just our Rumble chat, basically. But it was like bigger than Asmongold in like views. It was crazy. Like they had like so many views, like concurrent, right?
That makes you, I mean, a lot of people are still doing this on platforms like Twitch, right? Like this has been a big thing recently, but I think it leads people to confuse how big specific audiences are.
Yeah.
Like a really big thing that's happened recently is people are beginning to realize, and it's begun to shape both progressive and conservative politics, how big the internet's gotten in other countries. And so a lot of people, they have this intuitive assumption that if people are watching them online or commenting on their stuff online, that they're from a similar cultural or geographic background to themselves. Mm-hmm. And this explains why the left has basically dropped environmentalism and gone all in on sort of anti-Jewish, like pro-Palestinian stuff. Uh-huh. It's because those causes sell really well to like a Pakistani audience, to a Muslim audience, and that audience is just way bigger than any American audience right now. And so they're getting these signals, and these people don't care. Pakistanis don't care about environmentalism. So they go out there and they give these anti-Western signals, and they get this like feedback from what feels like a really meaningful audience to them.
This was really like kind of related to this. It was really interesting when Elon made it public, like where a person was posting from. That really shook up X a lot, right? There was the whole thing with there would be accounts that would make comments on like American politics, and it was like India. Well,
yeah, I mean, this is what we saw with Nick Fuentes stands. So for people who are unaware, there's a botting network for Nick Fuentes, which gets his posts more retweets than even Elon Musk has, if you're talking about early retweets. And what you could have said is, okay, well, most of these are like American super fans or something like that. And then they did the reveal, and they were all from like Nigeria and Pakistan. And so I think that parts of the right have also been captured by the
audiences that are
third world. So a good example of this is Tucker Carlson. There was a scandal recently where it turned out his primary audience is Pakistan now.
What? What the heck?
Which explains why he's so pro-Muslim and anti-Semitic these days. Well, not even anti-Semitic, just he's more critical of Israel than he used to be.
It's really interesting. And I guess it kind of makes sense, right? Is that you would receive the, you know, if you're especially if you're like a YouTuber, you do like more like your content is more what's the word, non-live, you would get like that feedback from other countries, and I guess like they become audience captured because they're still chasing like those ratings or something like that.
They're chasing what they think is normative. Yeah, somebody was like, Nick Fuentes is on the right, which is true. I mean, Nick Fuentes has come out as a Democrat. He votes Democrat. Like in every way, he's a Democrat. And we point this out, like it makes a lot of people are like, well, he has a lot of views that are very differentiated from mainstream Democrats. And it's like, yeah, well, the Islamists and the LGBT brigade hate each other too, but they still vote the same way. They're still the same party.
Yeah.
Like no one, like the Islamist isn't a Democrat, right? So,
yeah.
But it's what I guess like the wider point I'm making here, and I've been trying to emphasize this to Leaflit, is you don't appear to bot, from what I know. Like I trust. Like
I don't know. So the thing with botting, right, is you can have a
well, you can have people like maliciously,
well, not even maliciously. Like you might have fans too that do it, right? So like I've heard of such things happening where. I mean, I don't myself bot, and like if somebody, like a friend told me they were botting me, I would tell them to stop. So it's like, it's not something I really want to participate in, but I can see it happening to certain people, like, you know, who they have like you know, like it's like a super stand that's like, well, I'm gonna boost my Oshi or whatever, right, by 200.
The point here being is that I think your relative reach within the online cultural space in the United States is significantly larger than you probably perceive it to be.
Oh, geez. That's a lot of responsibility. Oh, God.
Well, no, I mean, I think that this is something that I need to remind myself of. I need to, you know, because, you know, I see these other people and, you know, I go to convention. I don't see who's watching their stuff, but like I mention you, and people will know you. They're like, oh yeah, of course, like Leaflit, right? Like, so like in terms of
sorry, go ahead.
Real humans.
ironically, the VTubers, the stuff like that seems to have a bigger reach. And ideas like you have around things like stellar humanism, even outside of, because for me, this has also been another thing that recently I've just been like, I don't effing care. Like, even if they were real, even if they did have audiences, if they're promoting a lifestyle that doesn't lead to, staying high tech while staying high fertility, they're not particularly relevant in terms of like the future of humanity.
Long term,
right?
you're talking like over hundreds of years, basically, right? Is that?
Well, yeah. Well, maybe not hundreds of years. Humanity's technological progress is moving at a blinding speed right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at where we are going to be, like our community is going to be in 10 years, right? When the left finally decides that, hey, maybe we should make AI stuff. And we're going to have like animes. We're going to have,
True. Can't wait.
People are going to be coding stuff constantly. People are going to be like, we're in the freaking hyperspace thing right now.
You want to know a weird story that happened to me recently? I had a friend that I talked to a lot, like before, like he was kind of from around when I was like maybe at like, I want to say like 100 CCV, right? So I had a friend from back then, like who used to watch my stream. He like watched a really close friend of mine, and he messaged me one day and he was like, my coworker right now in the office right now is watching you. And I was like, what? I was like, well, he's like, yeah. Should I show him this conversation? I was like, yeah, sure. So like, went over and showed him like, look, I'm DMing her right now.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's always so weird to me when that happens. Like it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, it is. Well, I mean, it's. The reason I say this is because I think that sometimes we can get demoralized, right? Where we want to go to other people on the right and be like, let's think about like the future. Let's think about space travel. Let's think about, and sometimes these people who have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo of what like the right is supposed to be, they'll like lash out at you because it seems weird to them and different and new.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people just don't have the cultural power that I think we perceive them to have. And we should allow ourselves to be captured by them in the same way that they've been captured by the Packies.
So it's kind of like a I guess like those animals that puff themselves out, like a pufferfish. Yeah, they're like a pufferfish. Yeah, so it's like they just have a perception of being a lot larger and a lot scarier, a lot more power, right? But I mean, I guess that's like kind of. I mean, for me, I can only speak for myself, right? Like I've always not really. I don't really care, right, about if people don't like what I'm saying. I'm just kind of like, well, that's too bad, I guess, and good luck with what you believe, right? It's like, as long as they're not like infringing on me, I don't really, they could believe whatever they want. I'm just trying to help people, like I
think if you look within online environments right now, if you're contrasting the and this is what I say, because I talk about parts of the new right really split from the original effective altruist community into like a leftist and rightist version of them. And the rightist version and the leftist version split over a fundamental difference in sort of how they engaged with morality. And I think when we're talking about like the intelligent, honest part of the left, and people can say, look, I know it's maybe small, But there is a portion of the left that is like lucid and has some degree of morality to them. I think the core difference in the two factions is captured by your stellar humanism idea, which is to say that leftist morality and the part of like the effective altruist community that split left is sort of like utility accountants. And they are trying to reduce the amount of suffering that exists at any given time on Earth, right? Like, let's reduce the suffering in third world countries. Let's reduce the suffering, right? Like, and we can say, well, actually, your interventions cause more pain here, here, and here is why. But this like lucid part of the left, if you could actually show them the data, I think many of them would change their mind on this, right? But like, this is their presumed goal, right?
Is that why a lot of people are calling me a leftist? Because like I've been getting that a lot lately, where people would be like, yeah, look at her beliefs, this, and this. Like, Leaflit is a total fucking leftist. And I've been getting this from a lot of like right-wing people. Is that why?
People who say Asmongold is a leftist, Asmongold has...
He's more liberal, right?
Rightist only insofar as he doesn't like actively identify as a rightist, but his political beliefs, I don't think there's a single political belief he has other than that we should have some social safety nets, which pretty much all of the right agrees with these days.
Yes,
that's literally his only leftist belief, is that we should have social safety nets.
Like wouldn't he be like, I guess like kind of Elon-esque, like in his politics?
Yeah, UBI. Yeah, but a lot of the new right is for UBI as well, or at least for entertaining it. I mean, when
I see what you mean.
Is everyone's job, like we're going to need to do something.
Yeah, I literally said that too, actually, because people were asking me how I feel about UBI, and I said I definitely don't like it now, and I almost don't like it in any other case. But then I feel like at some point when we have too many robots, like whoever has like all the robots, right? There's gonna be too many robots to the point where we might have to do that for people that don't have the problem I have. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, continue.
I'll say the problem I have with, I was thinking about it, and I think the problem I have with things like UBI is I feel like systems like that create like really bad culture, I think.
Well, so they do. So we have a video where we go over Sam Altman's UBI study where he gave people $1,000 every month for 3 years. Yeah. And people who were given this money at the end of the 3-year period had less money than the people who weren't given it at all. Worse than that, they spent no additional time with their kids. They spent no additional time on self-improvement. They spent no additional time on education. Like, it just straight up hurt them. And if you look at societies where this has been implemented, like on some Native American tribes, you end up with horrible drug problems. You end up with horrible unemployment problems. It's bad, but like, I at least think that somebody's not a leftist in my mind because they're entertaining UBI in a post-AI economy, right? Like, I think that, like, yes, UBI as it has been implemented in the past does not seem to work. But also, like, the economy as we structure it today isn't going to work in 50 years. So, like, at least, like, throw ideas out there, right?
I see what you mean. Like, entertaining the idea doesn't automatically make you,
Yeah. I get but anyway, the point I was making earlier is that the two moral systems, the sane, small, tiny 1% of sane leftists, they're about reducing suffering in the moment. And we actually see this in like weird ways as well. Like when they say, oh, don't tell like a fat person it's unhealthy to be fat, right?
Yes.
Because that'll make them feel bad. And it's like, well, obviously it has better long-term effects. Or don't tell somebody, you know, like don't trigger somebody with like uncomfortable facts, right? It's like, well, you know, obviously challenging things that you find intellectually challenging are going to improve you in the long term, right?
Yes.
So they're just about like reducing suffering in the moment, sort of aggregate across the world. Whereas the thing that really defines, I think, like the intellectual right these days is trying to increase the long-term potentiality of humanity.
Yes.
Whatever that means. But it's sort of like, okay, well, what effect is this going to have in 50 to 100 years? What effect is this going to have? You know, like, you know, this is where something like where I can be like, okay, like I think Israel does a lot of terrible things. But at the end of the day, if Gaza takes over Israel, where is humanity going to be in 100 years?
Worst
right?
state,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, is that going to be a better future than if Israel stays independent and has ability to operate pretty much with impunity within its region.
Yeah.
And it's one of these things where it's like, yeah, a lot of negative stuff is going to happen there, but it's not particularly a hard question for me between those two potential outcomes. But yeah, it's and I think you see this across like the UBI thing, and actually I think the whole Asmongold of the leftist thing. I want to dig in on this concept because it's interesting to me. He votes right. He's voted right for like longer than I've voted right.
Did he? Did he vote? Actually, I don't actually know his
for Trump since the first Trump election.
Did he? Let me look at this.
That'd be interesting to see. Yeah. Like whatever it means to be the type of person who votes for right-wing candidates in the United States in 2026, I think Asmongold is pretty on the center of whatever that is. Yeah, he's a Bernie stan, which a lot of the right is. A lot of Trump's core base was Bernie stans.
That's his life. Okay, I'm looking it up. I feel like
didn't vote in 2024. Somebody said, okay.
Is it? I mean, Bernie's like straight up commie though.
Oh yeah, but I think Bernie represented for a lot of people somebody who was antagonistic to the existing system of the old right and the old left, and there was a huge audience that was just like, I am so fucking done with this. I just want something different. And then Trump was the first person on the right who genuinely came along as an alternative, something different.
He voted for Trump. It looks like he voted for Trump. Okay, so he voted. He didn't really say what he voted for. Prior to that, 2016 voted for Trump. 2020, no confirmation he voted at all. 2024, no vote. So he only voted 2016 that we know of.
Somebody said he was for Ron Paul. Yeah, the type of person who is for Ron Paul and Bernie Sanders. What's the only area of overlap Ron Paul and Bernie Sanders have? The system isn't working.
Do you think it's more? I guess maybe people are kind of caught up in like the definition of like what right and what left is, and I think
I guess well they're sort of looking at old versions of right and left instead of the way it's functionally ended up shaking out, which I mean I think we've got to update as things change, right? Like the party of the right today ideologically is not even the party of the right during Trump's first office.
So I guess this is an interesting thing we can talk about is, well, for the purposes of like what we're speaking on, right, of like sides, right, because people are going to think of things in terms of sides regardless of like how you put it. That people are going to think right and left. So what is the right? Okay, so
I can clearly define the right. And when people say the right is a party of the leftist of the 90s, I think they're fundamentally misunderstanding the way that culture has shifted. So if you go in the 1990s, the right-leaning coalition was made up of the dominant cultural groups in the United States sort of allied with each other. And this was the Judeo-Christian faction, right?
Yeah.
Like it was where all the different Christian denominations sort of their shadows overlapped. Yeah. And it said, I am going to force through legislature, through the school system, the population to conform to my culture because I'm the dominant culture.
I see what you mean.
Of the 1990s was everybody who was opposed to that dominant cultural control. The left today has sort of taken the role of what the right had in the 90s, which is to say that the left is the dominant culture. It's the urban monoculture, as we call it. It's wokeism. It's the culture of the urban elite. And it, in the same way the right did in the 1990s, says, I'm going to attempt to use my cultural power and institutional power to force my beliefs on people in the school system, to force my beliefs on people through laws, to force my beliefs on people through the prison system. And the right now is largely made up of a coalition of diverse groups that are antagonistic to this imposition by the left. And in that way, we are like the left of the 90s in that we are the rebellion force. We are the anti-authoritarian force. We are the force for sort of freedom and individualism. But it's not that like things have just cleanly shifted in one direction or another direction.
That makes sense. I think the way I think of it, and I've always thought of it this way, is I'm not so much like right or left. I'm more anti-authoritarian. That's kind of my angle. And that's always been my angle, right? Like I don't like the government. I don't like people using any sort of force to like, I don't like people forcing their beliefs on other people and forcing me to give my money to other people for whatever their purposes are. Yeah.
And people are trying to say libertarian here, but I disagree with the libertarian label because, like, first of all, it's gay. But I can have every belief a libertarian has, but I am not going to be a fucking libertarian. Don't you call me that. That's like the libertarian. Honestly, I have the same reaction to the person who's like, I'm a libertarian and a conservative thing when like a panel of all women show up and then there's the one really poorly passing trans woman. And they're like, yeah, I'm a woman too. And I'm like, shut up. Everybody knows.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I personally don't identify with the libertarian label at all, because while I'm anti-authoritarian, I'm still open to being like, well, I don't understand what we're going to do when AI replaces like the vast majority of white collar jobs, right? Like, how are we going to structure our economy in that situation? Even though I think UBI is on net a bad, I think we need to consider all economic options.
Yeah.
And that's not the viewpoint of a libertarian. This is the viewpoint of somebody who's just trying to find a fucking solution when we're dealing with a civilizational challenge at this point, right? And I think that
it's not about,
in a way, that's because the right is the party right now that's just like actually trying to find solutions instead of, and this is why the right doesn't care about, like, everyone on the right who I watch, like, watches Shoe on Head and she's like a fucking communist.
That's
right?
true.
Like,
Yeah.
We don't care as long as she seems to be genuinely trying to come up with solutions.
So it's really about it's really about people that are looking for solutions no matter what they are, like kind of entertaining whatever ideas exist to like try to find that optimal solution versus kind of being captured by like your own ideology.
Yeah. I think that I think that more widely defines like the tech right and the new right more broadly. Like, the ideological diversity within this sort of online space is enormous. Where you'll have people who are like straight up monarchists, right? Like, like Curtis Yarvin, we've had on the show. Number, I consider him a friend. He's a great guy. He's a monarchist, right? Like, that's not, I guess, libertarian or right leaning, but like,
I've said
I can
that
talk
before.
to him about that stuff, but I find the conversations really enlightening because it's just a different way of looking at things.
How would you so I've heard you say previously a lot the tech right. How would you just so there's no misunderstanding, like for anyone watching, like how would you define tech right?
So the tech right is made up of two groups. One group is the Gamergate / Red Pill diaspora.
Yep.
So it's sort of like Gamergate / Red Pill / 4chan diaspora.
Yeah, that's me.
It's this group of like online bros who were just trying to live their life, and then somebody bought all of their favorite movies and all of their favorite games and wrote like "we hate you" and shit all over the walls. And then we're like, why are you so mad? I own it now. You can't just, so they and then this people were just like, you and everything you stand for. I am so being done with this. So this group is the tech right, and that they came from a tech world, right?
Yeah.
And they have values that hugely differentiate from the mainstream right. Probably the biggest is that they are hugely anti-censorship, especially when it comes to like women being hot and stuff like that, right? Like, they're like, stop with my hot girls in video
hot
games.
Cat girls, what are you doing?
Right. And then the other faction of the tech right is the quote unquote elites, right? These are the people, like, I guess I mean, obviously I fall in the post-Gamergate, but I also fall in the elite faction, right? These are the people who sort of come out of like Elon's world. These are the Peter Thiel world. These are the JD Vances. These are the people who staff. So I happen to be friends with both, like, a lot of the institutional Claremont, Heritage Foundation, everything like that, institutional right-leaning institutions, and like tech bros. And you know who got the list when the new Trump administration was being staffed? It was all the Founder Fund bros. If people don't know who Founder Funds, that was Peter Thiel's fund for like giving money to people who like dropped out of college and stuff like that, like VC type people.
Yeah.
These are people who are just like, I just want something that
fucking works. I don't care about anything else. I want something that works, and the right is willing to listen to me right now. And people are like, Malcolm is the elite. I don't want to be like, I mean, I have a Stanford MBA. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of like, my wife used to run like, or she was managing director of a secret society that was founded by like Peter Thiel. Like, we get invited to like Hereticon and all that. Like, I do the secret society world, right? Like, I don't know what makes a person elite these days. But anyway, so I see both of these communities, and they've sort of worked together really well, and they like each other, and they like each other primarily because, and one of the reasons they work is that the tech elite, like the Elon, the Founders Fund people, they don't think that they are superior to the base, to the post Gamergate people, because these are their communities, right? Like, these people all used to hang out on 4chan. They used to all hang out on the Gamergate forums, on the, Red Pill forums. They're like just hyper nerds. That's where they looked for social affirmation, right?
You know what's weird about that, though? Sorry to cut in there, but I feel like a lot of those people would have had more liberal points of view until that happened, and it kind of blew up, and everyone was like, okay, I see what you're trying to do, fuck you guys. And that's kind of what happened.
No, and both populations were eventually like, just like, F you guys, like, I'm done with this. And the thing that I think surprised both factions is how much a lot of the mainstream right accepted them. Because they didn't expect that, right? Like, they thought like, well, we hate the feminists and the wokes and everything like that, but like, surely like the Christian right is gonna hate us or whatever. And largely they weren't hated, and so they got along pretty well, and they've done a pretty good job as a coalition in terms of implementing stuff that like we just haven't seen implemented in ages. Winning like the reform victory in the UK we had recently.
I feel like it's only a matter of time though before that alliance runs out. It really feels like it to me.
I don't think so, actually. I think that we've seen some really positive developments. Probably the biggest positive development is Nick Fuentes just coming out as a Democrat, because the biggest threat to this faction was the sort of group that is above all else motivated by anti-Semitism. Like, they're willing to tank America's interests so long as it screws over Israel. And again, Israel has fucked us over so many times. Do not get me wrong about that, right? Like, I am not the biggest Israel lover in the world, but like to hope that we lose in Iran and stuff like that to spite Israel is just like, okay, like I don't know if we can work together. But yeah, what was I going to say? That faction was potentially dangerous, especially like, oh, we won't vote for Vance because he did an interracial marriage, right? Like, that's never going to win with the mainstream audience, right? And so the fact that they ended up splitting out, I think, removes a big threat to the sort of internal coherence of the new right. And keep in mind, who were our other threats? They were people like Ben Shapiro, who absolutely hated this like nerdy group of gamers who were gaining power. He's burning out right now, right? Like, a lot of our enemies have sort of burned out, right? Like, recently too. The people who may be more antagonistic to us still, like, somebody might be like, well, like a Candace Owens type figure may be antagonistic to you, but like, she's so crazy, like, we don't even hate her because she's just like, we're like, well, like, conspiracy theorists, like, there's the shots that she's shooting are like so in every direction, like, it's like, well, it's probably not going to hit us.
She's like a berserker.
A random day, and so it's ended up working really. But so where was I going with this? I was actually watching recently the songs. So like the main like end song from the Goofy movie. I don't know if you saw the Goofy movie as a kid.
No.
But like, I thought like the vibe of the right growing up was gonna be, like Leave It to Beaver, and yet it's totally the Goofy movie. Like, that's the right these days is Goofy movie kid, and because it's like it's unpretentious. It's just it's sometimes a little lewd, but still wholesome. Yeah.
How do you feel about, I guess what I'm worried about is I'm worried about kind of the fight between the religious authoritarian people on the right, and then again like the tech right, like you would say. Like I feel like
yeah. So the cool thing about winning that fight is it's a very winnable fight. So I should go over how do you win the fight against the religious authoritarians?
Yes.
You have to be able to peel in allies who know that they're going to be screwed over by that fight from religious denominations. So good allies to the tech right? Mormons, for example. Mormons actually, the sane one, and most Mormons I know are pretty sane. They realize that they're at as much threat as the nerds are if the evangelicals ever gain full power.
Yeah.
Other factions that make natural allies.
This is like some Game of
Jews.
Thrones shit, dude. Like,
what?
This is like some Game of Thrones shit, dude.
No, it is. Yeah. Jews are a very useful ally because they already see the shots being fired by the more religiously conservative, right-leaning individuals and stuff like this.
Don't a lot of them like stand for Israel though? Like a lot of the hyper-religious people. At least it's been my view of it.
They do. And like obviously Jews got their problems, right? We've had videos on that. But they still are a very useful ally in sort of the cultural battle, right? Even if they may not be the longest of term allies, they're definitely good value aligned for now. Maybe not economically speaking, but you know, other groups that make useful allies. One is attempting to, and this is something we try to do in our show more frequently, is point out that the Protestant and Catholic faction actually like do have like they're less allied than they think. They only sort of appear allied right now because they LARP similar values, and they don't really realize how culturally different they are because the left basically brainwashed them into forgetting.
I feel this so much actually. Like you know, as a Protestant person myself, I've always noticed that, especially growing up, where there was kind of tension. And I don't know if this is just me. This could just be like a personal experience, but like I've noticed because like I was kind of in both worlds because I had friends that were Catholics, I had friends that were Protestants, but it was always like, yeah, you know, those Catholics, they're you know, a bunch of idolaters and stuff like that, right? And like I told chat this, like how Protestants think that Catholics are heretics basically, and then like Catholic people would disagree with that, obviously, right? And then think that you Protestants are not the real church, you know. I mean, you guys are doing your own thing, we've got the keys to everything. And there's just this really interesting like firing shots across the bow, but like, oh, we're friends, you know what I mean? Like it's funny.
Well, I mean, for now we're friends. I'd point out to people that which groups you're friends with and which groups you're not friends with can change, culturally speaking, depending on how the groups change. I mean, the reason why Catholics have integrated so well into the American conservative movement is because they started hating the Pope. And like Protestants are like, well, you hate the Pope, we hate the Pope. Yeah, sure. Like you can be like, we have very little that we disagree on anymore. But like that's a very weird phenomenon. I know that like like Catholics can be like, well, come on, Catholics have hated the Pope since I was a kid. And I'm like, but you understand that was like the whole reason we left, right? You know?
that was it. Yeah, the whole Protestant thing was because they wanted to get away from like that authoritarianism, but then the Catholics were like, well, you know, we have the line of succession, so like, you know, what we say is the actual thing, right? And they're like, well, no, it's not, and that was like the big fight. Yeah.